The brave men and women who have served our country faithfully often need our help to successfully transition back into civilian life. Brave Radio is here to highlight veterans and the companies who are making a difference in our veteran community. And now, the host of Brave Radio, Eve Nasby.
Welcome to Brave Radio, where we're focused on engaging our veterans and making a difference in our business community. I'm your host, Eve Nasby, here to highlight the best and brightest that San Diego and this nation have to offer. We have a great show planned today, so let's get started. Joining me in studio is Kaz Lockett and Vince Martin from Easter Seals of Southern California. Welcome.
Good morning.
Hello.
Good morning.
I am so glad you guys are here.
That's always a
You're
pleasure.
sitting in for John Funk, so you got really big shoes to fill.
Yes.
Right?
Of course. Of course, every second.
We have the funky socks for it.
That's right. Exactly. Well, Vince, our listeners have never had the pleasure of meeting you, so why don't you just give us like an overview of who you are and your service in the military? It's been a long time.
Sure. Good morning, everyone. Vince Martin, a 26-year Navy veteran. I enlisted in the Navy in 1984. I was a nuclear submariner for 5 years, and then got picked up for the ROTC program, and then went P3 Aviation as a naval flight officer for the rest of my
Which,
career.
for those listeners, I just learned this. A P3 is a submarine hunter?
That's correct.
Yes? All right. I was listening. And then you got introduced to Easter Seals of Southern California. Talk about that.
Yes. So while I was at Spay War, that was my last job in the Navy. Mm-hmm. I worked indirectly with John Funk, so we kind of ran around the same circles, although we didn't know each other directly. I was introduced to John as I was preparing for my transition, and I was actually a client of Easter Seals for employment services, and I ended up joining the team as I was going through my transition process.
That's so great. And Kaz, I think you pretty much had a similar story. You saw Easter Seals, they saw you and said yes.
In a sense, unlike Vince, I wasn't a client. So since we're talking about networks, a lot of people on my networks knew that I was going to leave San Diego State and that I was looking for something else. And they brought to my attention that there was a military and veteran services as a part of the East Southern California program. And they advised me highly to look into it. And then luckily enough, I guess I caught the eye through resume or whatever the case is. And they offered me the chance to come in and interview, and then here I am.
And here you are helping other veterans transition effectively from the military into civilian work life. Now, John and I have been on the air for I don't even know how many weeks talking about resume writing and interviewing skills, and that's great. But I personally think the most important part of your transition, a successful transition, is the network, and it's networking. So we talked about preparations for job interview, and everybody's going to go on, hopefully, a lot of job interviews during their transition process. But how do you hear about those interviewing opportunities? And I will tell you, as a staffing service professional, it ain't filling out that application online and sitting around waiting for someone to answer you back. So why don't you guys tell us about the beauty of networking?
The wonderful thing about networking is that though from the outside looking in, you might think it's arduous or even a scary experience. Right. It's really not, because you already have pre-established networks that maybe you're not tapping into as much as you would like to, or that you didn't even know existed. So a couple of examples of that is, everyone what we work with comes from the military. That's a vast network that you had, talk to former colleagues of yours, talk to commanding officers, and, anyone from your unit, whatever the case is, these individuals are transitioning out themselves and now they're in the civilian marketplace. You can tap into them. You find out other things that you won't find online that, 100,000 people are looking at, right. Whatever the case is. If you're a family person or go to the church, you can use that. Maybe other parents at the school. That's a network that is hardly ever utilized.
Yeah.
Basically, you're just talking. And if you do all the processes that, John and everyone else has been spelling out this whole entire time on the radio, then you understand your story and how it relates into what you're trying to do. So it becomes more fluent for you. And when you're just talking, people reach, they see that passion that you have for it, and they want to help out as much as possible. So that's the easiest way. Networks they're already there. There's ways of making your network larger and reaching out more. And the fantastic thing is we live in an age where the internet is so prevalent.
Oh my gosh. LinkedIn, Facebook,
exactly.
Twitter.
Right.
It's not what you know. Really, it is who you know.
Absolutely.
Within an organization. And LinkedIn, I think you guys might allude to this too, but you can jump on LinkedIn. If you don't have a profile on LinkedIn, make one. But there's
Agreed.
so many people on LinkedIn that want to help, that can help. People that you don't even know, like say you want to work at Ashford, who's coming up next on our show. You might not want to fill out that application online at Ashford if you already know the president of Ashford or one of the hiring managers at Ashford. And if you don't know, then maybe Vince or Kaz has a networked person within Ashford on LinkedIn that can connect the dots for you. So it doesn't always have to be about who you directly know. It's who they know, right?
Absolutely.
Exactly. Yes.
And I don't want to keep talking, and I know Vince likes to speak as much as I do.
Okay.
But that's some of the things that we do with our veteran clients. Specifically with using LinkedIn is to start putting yourself out there. It's almost like you're faceless. So that's if you have the hesitation of, speaking out face to face with
Right.
individuals, not everyone is, extrinsically motivated that way where they want to push themselves.
Right.
You can go on, you can search what industry you're looking for, find connections, and you can learn a lot about how they got to there so that you can understand maybe the processes that you need to do, reach out to them. And basically I give some of my clients a homework assignment and they love it because it actually works. You reach out to 50 people a week and see who you get in return, connected with. Then send them a message. I'm trying to get into this industry. I'm looking for some further information, and maybe you can help me out because I would like a better grasp, a better understanding. And they get a percentage of people to return that, and then you just follow it up. Well, do you know of any openings?
Right.
Do you know of anyone else I can connect with? And now you're learning more people within a network. So basically, you're tapping into the person that you just met, their network,
Yes.
in order to build your own network.
It's kind of like Amway.
Absolutely.
You're not selling anything.
Yeah,
That's right.
exactly.
Vince, how can job searchers use some of these tools? Like, would you suggest Facebook? Would you suggest Twitter? I mean, we already talked about LinkedIn. What are some of the other networks out there?
Sure. Besides LinkedIn, just the ones you mentioned, Twitter, Facebook, those are all very, very helpful and also very capable in expanding your networks. You just need to find out the right way to go about it, the do's and the don'ts. And as long as you follow those and put yourself out there to make yourself a better known commodity and the benefits you can bring to a company, it can only work in your favor. So there are a lot of other systems, a lot of the other networking networks out there or means to increase your visibility. And I highly recommend it for transitioning veterans to utilize all of them. Don't limit yourself to a certain program. Mm-hmm. Utilize all of them.
You're listening to Brave Radio here on KCBQ, AM 1170, streaming live on the web at am1170theanswer.com. Follow us on Twitter at Brave Jobs or like us on Facebook to stay up to date with the latest news and trends. I'm your host, Eve Nasby, here with Kaz Lockett and Vince Martin from Easter Seals of Southern California, and we're talking about networking. So what's been the most surprising way you have networked with someone when it came to your job search?
Oh, that's for me personally?
Either one of you, yes.
Okay, so I like to ride motorcycles, all right? And there are a lot of veteran-centric motorcycle clubs. Mm-hmm. So I just went on one of their ride-alongs, many of their ride-alongs, and met people within that group and discussed who I was as a person, not specifically asking for jobs or anything like that, but I've always been wanting to help veterans. So what can I find to better help veterans? So I went to the veterans and maybe they knew something I didn't know. So that was building a network. And it was, you got to really think about it. Like you wouldn't think that going to a motorcycle club
is a networking event. You don't take business cards.
Exactly. But, it's not always about, walking up and handing your resume. That's not particularly networking. It's getting someone to know your name, know your face.
Right.
I'm not exactly the smallest person in the world. So
for those listeners who can't see you, you look like Hercules.
Yeah, well, thank you.
Good.
I work on it a lot. Exactly. So, get to know you as a person so that if they hear, maybe then they'll reach out on your behalf without even thinking about it. Like that sounds like something that Kaz would want to do. Or, I heard through the grapevine, through their own network, that we'll say Ashford, since they're coming up, Ashford is hiring, and I know the president of Ashford or the hiring manager of Ashford. So they go, well, let me connect you with them. Because I think you'll be perfect for that job.
Right.
So it all, it's all streamlined. If you really start from like our very first radio broadcast till now, it all connects to each other. And the network is just a way of basically getting you to where you're trying to get to above everyone else. Mm-hmm.
Well, in the short time we have left, do you guys have any parting words of wisdom for networking? Yes.
It's very important to be ready to network at any time, because you never know when or where that networking opportunity will present itself. Mm-hmm. Whether it be in the elevator, as you hear about, in the transition classes, because you never know where you're going to meet your potential employer. Right. In my case, I networked on a golf course. I just happened to get paired up with another golfer, and he came on board, and we worked with him, and he actually became one of our clients, and we helped place him. I've also met other folks just out shopping and striking up a conversation. I met one really, really good contact during an airplane ride. He just happened to be sitting next to me, and through chatting it up, we came to find out we were working in a similar field. So again, just be ready to conduct networking opportunities whenever they present themselves.
Yeah, and on top of that, not only be ready, know your story, and don't be afraid to put yourself out there. You don't have to do it all the time, but be willing if asked the questions. As Vince was alluding to, have your elevator pitch. Yes. Understand that, a little 30-second brief interview of yourself, so that you have something to say. And there's nothing that can speak more than someone's passionate about something. And if you found what you're passionate about, other people will see that. And when you speak to them, regardless of what the setting is, elevators, golf course, supermarket, a conference room at the radio show, they will know that you're serious about what you're trying to do. Yes. And that network will be established, and it will take you to where you're trying to get to. So just understand that, every once in a while you have to, step outside of a box that maybe you've put yourself into, meet people, understand what it's doing for you and what you're trying to do with it, and take that chance.
For those of our listeners right now who are driving or listening on podcast or tuning in on radio, give us an idea of how you can help them, and tell us then how they can reach out to you, because either they're struggling with their networking abilities right now, or they know somebody who's struggling right now, not being able to expand their network, or they just don't know how. How can they get a hold of you for you to help them?
Well, the easiest way is obviously, online, go to the website, eastshows.com/Southern California, and you will find the Military Veteran Services link directly on that page. Shoot us an email. Our telephone numbers are on there as well. Give us a call. So that's the easiest way. The next best way is if you were to Google search my name, Kaz Lockett, KazLockett, it'll come up. LinkedIn, that's all the stuff we were talking about. Yeah. You can connect with me on LinkedIn in whatever way. It does not really matter, as long as that you reach out and use our networks, because we have lots of them. So, and
your services are free.
Yes, services are free. Yes.
I love it. All right, Vince Martin, Kaz Lockett, Easter Seals of Southern California. Thank you for joining us on our show today.
You're welcome.
You're listening to Brave Radio, where we focus on matching veteran talent with innovative companies that make a difference in our community and in our nation. Follow us on Twitter at Brave Jobs, or like us on Facebook to stay up to date with the latest news and trends. I'm your host, Eve Nasby, and we will be right back after this short break to talk to some amazing people. Don't go away. Tired of your employees being late?
There was so much traffic.
Tired of poor excuses and poor presentations?
My kid ate my homework.
Tired of employees just not being able to handle the pressure?
You mean I gotta work a full 8 hours today?
Skip the hassles and excuses and hire individuals that are trained in leadership, confident in their abilities, adaptable to change, and focused on teamwork. Hire a veteran. More than just a patriotic gesture, hiring a veteran of the United States military comes with a host of benefits and tax credits and can provide your company with valuable leadership, organization, and accountability. Allow the Brave to help your progressive business connect with qualified veteran candidates today and find out more by visiting thebrave.us. That's THEBRAVE.us.
Easter Seals Work First Military and Veteran Services provides free one-on-one personalized employment assistance for local veterans through their Bob Hope Veteran Support Program. Easter Seals' team of employment specialists is dedicated to achieving successful long-term job placements that benefit both the veteran and the employer. Learn more about how you can receive services, connect with a future employee, or make a donation by visiting easterseals.com/SouthernCal. That's easterseals.com/SouthernCal.
Hey, boss.
Yeah.
I need to hire someone. Our workload's increased and man, I could use some help.
What are you looking for?
I need someone unlike Ben, who doesn't freak out, when the copier breaks and the phones are down and the receptionist calls in sick.
What do you need?
Leadership. I need a leader who could just get it done with little direction and ahead of time would be great. With the prima donnas floating around our department like Sally and Jason, it's a challenge, man, to get things done. I need a team player, trained in leadership, confident in their abilities, and adaptable to change.
There's only one place you're going to find talent like that.
Show me where.
Our United States veterans. Call Eve right now at 619-244-3000 or log on to thebrave.us and let's hire a veteran. It's good for business. It's good for America.
Brave is a part of America's largest service-disabled veteran-owned business, Merit Consulting. We are dedicated to placing great companies with great veterans. Call today. Welcome back. You're listening to Brave Radio, where we focus on matching veteran talent with innovative companies that make a difference in our community and in our nation. Follow us on Twitter at Brave Jobs or like us on Facebook to stay up to date with the latest news and trends. I'm your host, Eve Nasby, and we are here in studio with Ashford University's Thad Trapp and Dr. Patenaude.
Yep.
I did it. Welcome. I am so glad you guys are here. We're going to talk about, first of all, obviously your attraction with the military and having them come work for you and all the involvement that you have within our military community and educating them. But first and foremost, our listeners always like to hear about your personal story. So, Doctor, you are a veteran. Please tell us a little bit about that.
Well, interestingly, Thad and I represent two very different sets of experiences. I was drafted out of college, actually out of grad school, into the Army. Did 2 years, but spent a year in Vietnam, and there I was a prisoner of war interrogator serving up on the DMZ.
Gosh.
Very, very challenging, interesting work.
Yes.
Taught me a lot about the service, and my respect for the service grew there. Coming to Ashford about 3.5 years ago as president, it was delightful to, first of all, see the amount of interest in and support for veterans, but the extent to which it's part of our culture. And we'll talk about that a little bit.
Yes.
But when I finished in the Army, they just said, here's your separation pay, here's a new uniform, good luck, thank you very much. And I was back in grad school in 14 days.
Wow.
Yeah, and I think we've learned a lot.
Very different than today, yes.
Very different. I think we've learned a lot since then. Our company, our university is very proud of how we handle veteran students and veteran employees.
Well, and talk about that difference, because I think it's important for some of our listeners who might not know that coming out of Vietnam is a very different experience. And now when people are coming back from Afghanistan, where if you mentioned this, if you don't agree with the war, they're still coming back and saying thank you for your service. But back then, what was your experience in Vietnam?
Well, if you chose to go in or be drafted, then you became identified with a policy. And so the safest thing when you came back was simply not talk about it.
Yeah.
Because they would assume the anger would be directed towards you. It's been delightful over the last 10, 15 years to see the foreign policy separated from the service of the individual. And that allows people to say thank you for your service, even when you disagree. One of the other things, one of the differences is the multiple tours that folks do now.
Yes.
I think it's very, very hard what they're asking our soldiers to do. And so when Thad transitions out, he's coming out with a whole different set of experiences than I did.
Right. Yeah. So Thad, tell us a little bit about your experience. You spent a long time in the military.
A little bit. I thought about making it a career. I'm
24 years is
I'm a 24-year
Wow.
Marine infantry veteran, and did do four tours, one to Afghanistan, 3 to Iraq. It's interesting. The whole first part of my career was for all intent and purposes, with the exception of Somalia peacetime, and the second half of my career was really just one deployment after another, either preparing Marines for deployment and myself for deployment, or returning from deployment, kind of standing down. But I had a pretty successful transition, and I shared a story earlier that during my transition, I was really prepared for and told, hey, when you go into a company, don't be surprised when you see a different work ethic, you see a different loyalty, you see a different focus on leadership. And I was actually very pleasantly surprised making my transition into Ashford that the opposite of all of that was true. There was a dedicated commitment to the future of our students. There was a dedicated commitment to the development of the employees in both a whole person concept from a leadership perspective and a professional perspective. There was a dedication to everything that we were doing as a university. So I was very pleasantly surprised. I may be in the minority, but that experience has really inspired me to help others make as smooth a transition as I did.
And you got a tremendous position there, Thad. I mean, obviously, both of you are at executive level positions. You give great inspiration for folks coming out of the military who think, okay, what is life like after I get out? And you are both obviously very successful. To talk about that transition, Thad, you are just recently transitioned.
I did. I transitioned in 2013. My first position at the organization was a leadership development program manager, and I was really fortunate to kind of stumble into that position. But it allowed me a lot of autonomy in the organization. It allowed me the opportunity to build some incredible relationships in the organization and really have an immediate impact on the development of its employees. And we had, at the time, we had an internship program with wounded warriors. We've moved on from that for a lot of different reasons, but one of the things that allowed me to do was, again, kind of have an immediate impact on those within the organization that were veterans.
You're listening to Brave Radio here on KCBQ AM 1170, streaming live on the web at am1170theanswer.com. Follow us on Twitter at BraveJobs or like us on Facebook to stay up to date with the latest news and trends. I'm your host, Eve Nasby, here with our friends from Ashford University. President of Ashford University, you have an amazing background, obviously coming out of the military, grad school, and now as an executive with this fine university. From the top, this whole veteran program and attracting veterans has your blessing, has your air coverage, and that is so important. When you have people that are buying in from the top of the organization, it's easy for those who are passionate about bringing veterans in at the lower levels to actually do it and execute. So talk about what we talked about in the green room is how you guys attract veterans to your organization.
Well, one of the things that you learn quickly in San Diego is an important part of the conversation. But here we have a significant number of students who are either active duty veterans or veterans' families.
Yes.
We give them a discount. We give them free textbooks.
I love that.
And that's about 25% of our students. And you can either pay attention to that or ignore it. But what we do is we say, this is an important group of people. We need to be prepared to serve them well. One of the ways is you do bring veterans on like that, who we recognize his talent right away and what veterans always bring to us, and that is focus, discipline, commitment, loyalty, good stuff. We have a military veterans task force that everybody in the organization who has touches either veteran students or veteran employees in some way is represented there.
Yes.
So we coordinate what we do. But with so many of our students who are veterans, people hear about us, they know that we are supportive, that the culture is supportive, and therefore veterans feel good about coming to us. Many of our employees are former students.
Yeah.
They said, here's an organization that talks the language, understands the experience, has put together specialized missions groups, advising groups, wellness groups, who are versed in subject matter experts in issues related to veterans. And therefore, I think we're a place that employees and students find supportive and friendly. It makes a difference because they hear about us and they want to come with us, and we want them to come and be part of us.
Yes, Dr. Patenaude, very well said. Thad, what would you add to that? What type of organizations in the structure, embedded in the structure with Ashford, make this a successful culture for our military?
Well, Dr. P mentioned the military student.
Thank you for calling him Dr. P.
Everybody does it so much easier.
Patenaude, but I have it now.
We have the Military Student Veteran Task Force, which is becoming the backbone of all of our military-focused efforts for both employees and students. And it really brings in all of our departments into one committee, one task force, at a minimum monthly to focus on all of the initiatives that are taking place. So we look at things like the DoD MOU, which we have a signed MOU with the Department of Defense. Mm-hmm. And so we look at all of the things the initiatives that come out of that. We look at partnering with organizations like San Diego or 211 San Diego,
yes,
which helps us vet all of the different organizations who want to reach out and partner with us, but it's just so overwhelming. We need a partner like San Diego 211 mm-hmm. to help us kind of filter through that. So it's really the foundation, like Dr. P, it's the foundation of what we do for our students mm-hmm. that attracts military. It's the recognition that we've received from third parties as a university and military-friendly university that attracts military to our university, or as employees to mm-hmm. our university. So there's really a lot going on there.
And you have a Veterans and Military Task Force headed up by Sherry Jones,
mm-hmm.
yes?
That's correct.
And that also helps stabilize that culture and make it this veteran-friendly environment. But you also mentioned in the green room that some of the differences of hiring veterans, that they're the first to raise their hand and volunteer. And you guys do a lot with the community in that level, too. Can you talk about that?
Yeah, for sure. We partner, just mention real quickly a couple of our partnerships. The public-private partnership of the U.S. Army Reserves is somebody that we partnership, and the Partnership for Youth Success, or PAYS, is another organization mm-hmm. that we use to find military talent to bring into the organization. These are our partners that offer services that we can't offer as a university. Things like interviewing skills.
Mm-hmm.
They'll bring in panel members and actually conduct mock interviews.
Mm-hmm.
They'll do placement and follow-up with these placements with students who are transitioning and trying to find employment. And so we use those organizations to help attract good employees to us.
You know, one of the things that we talked about on the previous segment with Easter Seals of Southern California was networking and the value of networking, not just putting your, application online and waiting for somebody to get back to you, but it's the network. So you guys find a lot of people referring people within Ashford for positions.
Unfortunately, I don't think that the services do a great job of teaching people how to network. Mm-hmm. They emphasize the importance of networking, but they don't give them the skills on how to go and do it.
Right.
I work with an organization called the San Diego Leadership Forum, which is a small non-for-profit organization that is reaching out to help people learn how to leverage LinkedIn, mm-hmm. but not just how to leverage LinkedIn by sitting at the computer and typing in some names, but find the company that you want to go to, do the research to figure out who in your LinkedIn network you know, and then reach out to them by email. I've got several people in the organization in Ashford that I regularly mentor one-on-one mm-hmm. on how to network. And one of the personal goals that I have is to meet somebody for coffee or lunch once a week that I've never met before.
Oh, wow.
And it's just keeping the network alive.
Right.
And so teaching those kinds of skills to people is amazing. And if we had time, I would walk you through the lineage of how I found Ashford, but it started with a relationship that was 3 years prior, and it was just continuing to build that network that allowed me to navigate the rough seas of the transition and find a spot.
Well, you are absolutely in the right place, and I'm sure Ashford is very grateful to have you and Bridgepoint. What else would you add for those veterans out there who might want to be partnering with you, working with you, going to school with you? Dr. P, what would you say?
Knock on the door. I've learned that it's hard to find out where jobs are and what job. It's a very active, dynamic mm-hmm. process. This job market is turns and churns a lot faster than other job markets. We have, for example, a number of positions open in admissions right now. And with the competitive job market, hard to find people. We like to bring veterans on board. Thad's a perfect example.
He is.
Successful, all those skills, we lifted him right up. But he also is a role model for folks. So I would say that one of the things veterans should do is get on the internet, get on the phone, get out of the house. And it's hard to do, as Thad said. Sometimes a network, but to turn a name into a face.
Yes.
And because at the end of the day, there's a hiring representative somewhere that you have to sit across the table and look at.
Right.
And if they know who you are, that you've been there 2 or 3 times in the last month, they'll think of you.
Yes.
So networking is very critical, has lots of dimensions to it. The other thing I would say is continue to hone skills and transfer the skills you received in the services into credits, into certificates. It's called Prior Learning Assessment, PLA.
Okay.
We do lots and lots of that. Most universities do. They're very aggressive about it. So that if you were a trained fireman, and with all the training that you get in the Navy for that, for example, there are ways you can come to the university and it becomes university credit, very inexpensively. So
That's perfect
think about
for veterans.
those experiences.
Yes.
One of the things that I would say to veterans who are listening today is, and Dr. Patenaude mentioned earlier a list of leadership characteristics that we look for in employees, and certainly that veterans possess. One of the things that I think that was missing from that list is critical thinking. And
very good.
Critical,
yes.
Forbes mentioned critical thinking as one of the top 5 skills that employers are looking for across the country right now. But it's something that's not really at the front of mind of veterans who are transitioning. So for them to really do some critical thinking about how their critical thinking skills that they developed while they were on active duty translate to any civilian job, because I guarantee you the level of responsibility that our young veterans have been given, whether it was a 2-year enlistment or a 20-year enlistment, developed critical thinking skills that would be valuable to any organization. If they can figure out a way to translate that for an employer, it would be incredibly beneficial.
I would think of it as sort of the anti-millennial aspect of it.
Right.
I think veterans should be loud and proud about their service, because all of us associate, particularly for young people, all of the skill building and all of this learning to do the job and learning to be on time and all those things that people worry about with millennials. You don't worry about that with veterans.
Yeah.
And so veterans should let us know. I mean, they should not hide the fact that they're veterans, because they've had experiences that are extremely important to being effective inside of today's workforce and organizations.
Excellent. Well, thank you, too, from Ashford University, Thad, Dr. Patenaude. Thank you. How do our listeners who are thinking, I want to knock on the door, he invited me to come knock on that door. How do they knock on your door? How do they get a hold of you?
HR department.
Yeah, they can reach out to Ashford through ashford.edu. They can also reach us through our parent company, Bridgepoint Education, at bridgepoint.com.
Ashford.edu. All right. Gentlemen, thank you so much for being a part of our show. Thank you for setting the bar. There's companies out there that are wondering if they should do this, and I hope that you have just convinced them that, yes, this is a great thing to do and hire veterans.
Thank you.
Great. Thanks for your time.
You're listening to Brave Radio, where we focus on matching veteran talent with innovative companies like Ashford that make a difference in our community and in our nation. Follow us on Twitter at Brave Jobs or like us on Facebook to stay up to date with the latest news and trends. I'm your host, Eve Nasby. We will be right back after this short break. Don't go away.
Hey, boss.
Yeah.
I need to hire someone. Our workload's increased and, man, I could use some help.
What are you looking for?
I need someone unlike Ben, who doesn't freak out, when the copier breaks and the phones are down and the receptionist calls in sick.
What do you need?
Leadership. I need a leader who could just get it done with little direction and ahead of time would be great. With the prima donnas floating around our department like Sally and Jason, it's a challenge, man, to get things done. I need a team player, trained in leadership, confident in their abilities, and adaptable to change.
There's only one place you're going to find talent like that.
Show me where.
Our United States veterans. Call Eve right now at 619-244-3000 or log on to thebrave.us and let's hire a veteran. It's good for business. It's good for America.
Brave is a part of America's largest service-disabled veteran-owned business, Amerit Consulting. We are dedicated to placing great companies with great veterans. Call today.
Easter Seals Work First Military and Veteran Services provides free one-on-one personalized employment assistance for local veterans through their Bob Hope Veteran Support Program. Easter Seals' team of employment specialists is dedicated to achieving successful, long-term job placements that benefit both the veteran and the employer. Learn more about how you can receive services, connect with a future employee, or make a donation by visiting easterseals.com/SouthernCal. That's easterseals.com/SouthernCal.
Tired of your employees being late?
There was so much traffic.
Tired of poor excuses and poor presentations?
My kid ate my homework.
Tired of employees just not being able to handle the pressure?
You mean I gotta work a full 8 hours today?
Skip the hassles and excuses and hire individuals that are trained in leadership, confident in their abilities, adaptable to change, and focused on teamwork. Hire a veteran. More than just a patriotic gesture, hiring a veteran of the United States military comes with a host of benefits and tax credits and can provide your company with valuable leadership, organization, and accountability. Allow the Brave to help your progressive business connect with qualified veteran candidates today and find out more by visiting thebrave.us. That's THEBRAVE.us. Welcome back. You're listening to Brave Radio here on KCBQ AM 1170, streaming live on the web at am1170theanswer.com. Follow us on Twitter at Brave Jobs or like us on Facebook to stay up to date with the latest news and trends. I'm your host, Eve Nasby, here with the most amazing Marjorie Morrison from Psycharmor. Welcome. I'm so excited.
Thanks, Eve. Thanks for having me.
You know everybody, so I want everybody now to know you. For our listeners who don't know anything about Psycharmor, can you kind of give us a high-level overview of what that organization does and what you do to participate in it? You obviously are the founder.
Yeah, absolutely. So Psycharmor is a national nonprofit, and we provide free education, training, and support to those that work with, live with, and care for our military veterans. So we don't work with veterans directly, but we work with and help train everybody who supports them, from employers to healthcare providers to caregivers.
And you're on TV. You've been in Time Magazine a couple times. You probably have frequent flyer miles by the millions to DC because you've got the exposure out there. What you're doing is so significant and so important. And I think the most important thing that I'd want to emphasize for companies that are looking to hire veterans is that you take some of that fear, because you've got out of hiring veterans, and especially those PTSD, you put that safety net under there. So can you talk a little bit about what specifically you do for companies who hire veterans?
Sure. So Psycharmor's model is we have online courses that are on demand and are free for anyone to take.
Free.
So yes, they are free.
They're free.
So we have over 100 now.
Oh my goodness.
And we have about 30 in our employer pillar. We have the different verticals. So to answer your question, in our employer pillar, we have courses like how to set up your veteran hiring program. We bring in subject matter experts from across the country. So we have how to create your military-friendly office and different things about that, how to set it up for reservists. And then we do have 11 courses on understanding invisible wounds of war at work. Everything from what is PTSD, how does PTSD present in the workplace, how to help an employee with PTSD be successful. We have the same 3 with TBI, traumatic brain injury, how to help someone with TBI be successful, and then with depression and also substance use.
So do you see a large number of people out there in the caregiving community who are tired and weary and need some help? And then how do you guys do that?
Yeah, so that's actually a different pillar, vertical that we're in, which is our caregiver and family pillar. And yeah, we do. It's interesting because a lot of people don't identify as a caregiver. They wouldn't say, oh yeah, I'm a caregiver. They think I'm a spouse or I'm a mom or I'm a child. Right. And that's just my role. And what is so hard is that, people come back with invisible and physical wounds of war. Very different conversation than with employers. But, sometimes they have to take care of their, whoever it might be that they love and care for. And it prevents them from being able to work, getting out of the house as much. So yeah, there's a lot of really big issues that we're just starting to see now.
And I think it's important for our listeners to hear both. And that's exactly what Psycharmor is all about, both of those. So back to the employers, talk more about your training, because I know you're really excited about it and there's a lot of stuff going on there.
Yeah, for our trainings, yes. So we have, we want to help companies really move past the reality is veterans don't have PTSD in the workforce any more or less than civilians.
Thank you for saying that.
It's the exact same. Right. But we know sometimes with hiring managers, they're afraid of that. And so it might be an issue with getting people hired. So we remove that. We also run a call center that provides ongoing support to employers. That's free. It's all staffed by master's and doctorate level mental health providers. And we provide everything from helping with accommodation plans or helping with resources, but our big focus is on retention. We just want to help people feel. We want to help veterans stay in their jobs, and we really do that by working with the companies, not the veterans. So we think if the majority of a company can take our military cultural 1 hour 15 course, which is 15 things veterans want you to know, if we get a large percentage of a company taking that, and it's 5 questions that anyone can ask veterans, then we know that when that veteran lands in a company, they're going to be really comfortable there. Their coworkers are going to engage in meaningful conversation, and that makes a huge difference right there.
Exactly. You're listening to Brave Radio here on KCBQ AM 1170, streaming live on the web at am1170theanswer.com. Follow us on Twitter at Brave Jobs or like us on Facebook to stay up to date with the latest news and trends. I'm your host, Eve Nasby, here with Marjorie Morrison from Psycharmor. So talk about some of the myths that you see out there that employers have about people with PTSD.
I would say with PTSD, it's either that they're violent, so not true. In fact, people that have PTSD are a lot less likely to be violent or don't have any more violent tendencies than someone that does. I mean, that someone that does not have it. So that's a myth.
And you have talk about your background.
Yeah. So I'm a licensed clinician, and I have been in, before I started Psycharmor, I was in private practice for about 2 decades, and I did work on both at Marine Corps Recruit Depot and at Camp Pendleton.
So this is not something you're reading in some magazine somewhere. From experience over decades, you know this to be true.
Absolutely. I actually really believe that when veterans come into the workforce, they are coming from the best training field in the country, the best training program. I mean, they really come with skills that, I've got 2 kids in college, not that I don't support college, but it's just what they walk in the door with puts them at such an advantage compared to the average American. And we're seeing it because veteran unemployment rates are much lower right now than the regular civilian rate. So I think there's been a huge push to hire veterans. I think now we have to just take it one step further, and we need to now educate Americans, and educate Americans on really what these veterans are and how much they contribute to our society. We do a lot of work with healthcare providers. We feel the same way for healthcare providers as we want them asking questions. Did you serve? And tell me about that service. We're not asking that out in the community. 85% of our veterans are seeing community providers. So we just need to do a better job right now of training the 99, only 1% of our country serves. So about 10% are connected, military connected. So 90% of us it's not the draft anymore. So we're disconnected. So what our role at Psycharmor is, we want to help engage the 90% of Americans. Take one course. We've got so many. There's got to be something that interests you.
Yep. And you just did a webinar, speaking of insurance providers, with Aetna.
Yes, I did. Right.
Saw that picture on Facebook.
Yes. Yeah. I have been in a different city every week for sure. Sometimes last week I was in 2 cities. But yes, we are working with pretty much all of the major insurance companies. We are training the EAP providers. We're training the healthcare providers. We are really Psycharmor is doing an amazing job, if I don't say so myself, in the healthcare provider space. We have... We give all free continuing education units for psychologists, master's level. We have, I think, 40 courses now for healthcare providers. Everything from managing addictions, how to help someone with addictions, to intimacy issues, to understanding military sexual trauma. I mean, it goes on and on. So if you're a healthcare provider and you've got someone in your office and you just need to know something about their issue that they come with, we've got a whole host of courses.
What, for those listeners out there who work in an environment who may be HR professionals, when you talk about making an accommodation for someone with PTSD, give an example of that.
Okay, great. That's we have found that there's about 19 most common accommodations that people with PTSD need, or I should say invisible wounds of war, because sometimes it's TBI or some memory, a symptom of something, but of those 19 things, the most expensive one would cost $500. The majority of them are free. So really easy fixes. Right. Things like you don't want to put a veteran with their back to the door. Things like the fluorescent light can sometimes cause headaches. And so bringing in, putting them in an environment with natural light can make a big difference. Giving them flex time so that they can go to appointments or have more breaks instead of an hour lunch break, but maybe having 15-minute breaks or 30-minute breaks makes a big difference. We have, I think, an entire free module on accommodation plans, common issues and responses to them.
Right. Well, we are running out of time, Marjorie. Please tell our listeners how they can get a hold of you.
Thanks, Eve. So you can go on our website, www.psycharmor, without a U, psycharmor.org. And you also can call our call center. It's an amazing free resource. It's 877. No, I lied. It's 844-PsychArmor. So I don't know all the numbers, but it's 844-PsychArmor, and they will help you with whatever you need or connect you with what you need.
And you are a nonprofit and you rely on the donations of others, and you've got a spectacular gala coming up. So I do not want to close out this portion without talking about that gala.
Oh, thank you, Eve. Yes, we do. We have our very first gala on Tuesday, May 3rd at the Hilton La Jolla Torrey Pines. We're honoring Senator Elizabeth Dole. So we're so honored to have her in San Diego. She's done an amazing work for raising awareness for caregivers. Yes. We're also honoring Tri-West Healthcare Alliance CEO Dave McIntyre, who's done an amazing job in the healthcare space. And Becky Morse, a local philanthropist who gave us our first $1 million to get started. So we're very excited. We have some other distinguished, special distinguished guests that I'm not allowed to publicly share, but I can promise you it's going to be pretty special. Ticket prices are $150, which is really just covering our cost of food. We're doing this as to raise awareness, but we are having a hosted cocktails, dinner program, and then an after party with dueling pianos. So it's going to be a super fun night, and our invitations actually go out tomorrow, but you can pre-order on our website. So,
all right, Marjorie, thank you so much for joining us today and giving us these tidbits. And we'll also have your information on our website and on our blogs, so our listeners can get a hold of you.
Thank you, Eve, for having me and all the great work you're doing.
It's always a pleasure. You're exciting. I love it. I love following you, too. So if you're not following Marjorie Morrison, you need to get on Facebook and follow her. She's everywhere. You're listening to Brave Radio here on KCBQ, AM 1170, streaming live on the web at am1170theanswer.com. Follow us on Twitter at Brave Jobs or like us on Facebook to stay up to date with the latest news and trends. I'm your host, Eve Nasby, and we will be right back after this short break to talk to our good friend, the president of San Diego HR Forum, the one and only Dena Ayala. Don't go away. Tired of your employees being late?
There was so much traffic.
Tired of poor excuses and poor presentations?
My kid ate my homework.
Tired of employees just not being able to handle the pressure?
You mean I gotta work a full 8 hours today?
Skip the hassles and excuses and hire individuals that are trained in leadership, confident in their abilities, adaptable to change, and focused on teamwork. Hire a veteran. More than just a patriotic gesture, hiring a veteran of the United States military comes with a host of benefits and tax credits and can provide your company with valuable leadership, organization, and accountability. Allow the Brave to help your progressive business connect with qualified veteran candidates today and find out more by visiting thebrave.us. That's THEBRAVE.us.
Easter Seals Work First Military and Veteran Services provides free one-on-one personalized employment assistance for local veterans through their Bob Hope Veteran Support Program. Easter Seals' team of employment specialists is dedicated to achieving successful, long-term job placements that benefit both the veteran and the employer. Learn more about how you can receive services, connect with a future employee, or make a donation by visiting easterseals.com/SouthernCal. That's easterseals.com/SouthernCal.
Hey, boss.
Yeah.
I need to hire someone. Our workload's increased and man, I could use some help.
What are you looking for?
I need someone unlike Ben, who doesn't freak out, when the copier breaks and the phones are down and the receptionist calls in sick.
What do you need?
Leadership. I need a leader who can just get it done with little direction and ahead of time would be great. With the prima donnas floating around our department like Sally and Jason, it's a challenge, man, to get things done. I need a team player, trained in leadership, confident in their abilities, and adaptable to change.
There's only one place you're going to find talent like that.
Show me where.
Our United States veterans. Call Eve right now at 619-244-3000 or log on to thebrave.us and let's hire a veteran. It's good for business. It's good for America.
Brave is a part of America's largest service-disabled veteran-owned business, Merit Consulting. We are dedicated to placing great companies with great veterans. Call today. Welcome back. You're listening to Brave Radio here on KCBQ AM 1170, streaming live on the web at am1170theanswer.com. Follow us on Twitter at Brave Jobs or like us on Facebook to stay up to date with the latest news and trends. It is my great honor and privilege to have in studio with us Dena Ayala from San Diego HR Forum and Merit Consulting, the Emergent Group. So welcome, Dena.
Thank you so much, Eve.
Welcome back. We had you in our first show. It was so exciting. You and Teddy Riley, also from the San Diego HR Forum.
Well, we are very happy to be here and just raise awareness for veterans on what resources they do have through San Diego HR Forum.
Well, you are like HR Central. So if anybody out there listening is interested in a position in HR or you're curious about HR, they need to connect with you. And the San Diego HR Forum is a great way to do that. So talk a little bit about what San Diego HR Forum offers to those who might be thinking about HR or who already are an HR professional.
Well, I think predominantly veterans that are coming out with management experience, which is a majority, would fit very well within the HR community. So coming to San Diego HR Forum, meeting peers, meeting other HR professionals out in the market is just fantastic. It's great networking. You're able to meet people doing that role right now. But we also do have a career transition services. So you could come in, speak to people who are there to actually specifically help you. And then after the monthly meetings, you could even join our mentorship program where you'll have an HR leader mentor you personally.
That is awesome, because here's the thing. You get out of the military and you're thinking, I kind of want to get into HR, but who do I talk to? You might not know anybody in HR, and it's kind of intimidating to go on LinkedIn and find the HR manager at Ashford University and send them a note. But you guys make a safe environment for someone who's thinking about it. And the partnership program you have, everybody at San Diego HR Forum, from Teddy Riley to you to Cole, everybody is so engaging and welcoming, and they want to mentor and they want to help.
That's absolutely true. And if you don't choose to go into HR, there are all the HR leaders who are doing hiring for the different organizations. So you could come in and meet people that are hiring for other roles as well. But it's very open, it's very inviting. People are just there to give, as true HR professionals do.
I love that. It's kind of like shooting fish in a barrel. You've got all of these HR leaders, and if you want a job at any company in San Diego, go to San Diego HR Forum's meeting, because the hiring managers or HR people are right there. Well, you do a lot with the community too, and you've got some upcoming events, employee engagement and company branding, Wednesday, April 13th. Talk about what that is going to be all about.
So we have Tony Chartlin, the VP of HR from Pechanga, coming down. And Pechanga is a huge employer. I actually think that they may have been rated #1 casino throughout all of California. Okay. They're just a great employer. They employ several people, several veterans. But he's going to be talking about employee branding, employer branding. And I think the branding aspect is just back to what networking is. 70% of jobs now are being hired through networking. So understanding what your brand is, understanding your message, understanding as you get out what to say and how to represent yourself it's huge. And employee engagement is also huge. Everybody wants to know when they come into a new role, what kind of engagement, what kind of environment are you going to be in? So to see employers like Pechanga, like Tony, get up and speak about what's important to them is just fantastic. And so that's actually coming up. We have that on April. Let me just go ahead.
April 13th.
That's correct.
7:15 a.m.
And if you want more information on that, you could visit SDHRforum.com. That's SDHRFORUM.com. And I'll learn a little bit more. But I could say our monthly programs are fantastic. Month after month, we have senior HR leaders come on. We would love to have you come there. I think one of the messages we put out before is if you hear us from this radio show and you want to come, we'll buy your ticket for free. So just reach on out.
I love it. If it's free, it's for me. All right. That website, once again, is www.sdhrforum.com. Dena Ayala. You get to meet her in person when you come to the meetings. President of San Diego HR Forum. Dena, thank you so much for being a part of our show today. It's a pleasure to have you.
It was wonderful to be here, and I do hope to meet you all. Thank you so much.
I'm Eve Nasby, and you've been listening to Brave Radio here on KCBQ AM 1170, The Answer. If you want to find out more about how you can hire top veteran talent, or if you're interested in being a guest on our show, visit our webpage at www.thebrave.us. Send us a tweet at Brave Jobs or like our Facebook page. From all of our guests and me, thanks for joining us. And until next Monday, may God bless our veterans and God bless America.
Thanks for listening to Brave Radio. If you know a veteran looking for work, or if your company is hiring, call Eve at Brave at 619-244-3000. Give her a tweet at Brave Jobs and connect with them on Facebook. To be a guest on the show, visit thebrave.us.